Hello Taurus friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Taurus March 2023 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. The theme of this month for Taurus is alchemy in action, and we'll get into the details of why I'm calling it that. This is for you if Taurus is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Taurus placement you're watching for. What we're going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. And if you are a very late degree Taurus, so 23 degrees or so through the rest of the sign, and birthday is May 15th or so through the rest of the sign, I suggest you additionally listen to or watch my Gemini report, as you very late degree friends will benefit from both the Taurus and Gemini readings. So wow, look at this month. Going to look at the chart here. And by the way, if you hear me doing visual references and you are listening in the podcast version and you want to see what we're looking at, my podcast is syndicated on YouTube with visuals. In this case, at least this month, there are visuals. Okay, so the biggest, first, most important thing to notice is, whoa, look at all that Aries. Holy hat. 7 placements in Aries, bringing zest, new beginnings, a return of energy and forward movement after being stalled out from August into January of this year. So forward motion is a very, very, very big theme of this month. And new beginnings. We've got Saturn changing signs from Aquarius to Pisces. We've got Pluto since 2008, it's been in Capricorn, changing signs into Aquarius. It won't stay there, but it is changing, and that is significant, and we will talk about what that means in general, and especially for you as a Taurus. So these energies are also showing new beginnings, and along the same lines, all of the personal and outer planets are still direct. When planets are moving direct, it brings this energy of forward movement. So things that had been stalled out for many months or even years can blaze forward in this crazy, surprising way. If you have to plan something, this is a heck of a month, and I'll give you some dates as well that are extra special for launches or big, important decisions. This is a month that is unlike any other month this whole year, because even though we did have a lot of free, open energy starting from the end of January, we're still in that phase, we didn't have it coupled with the Aries energy. So now we've got the direct movement and all the Aries energy, which is going to make our get up and go race forward. We're going to be very rowdy, rambunctious, and we can get a lot done. And I know that most Taurus people really like to get things done. And so you can be very, very productive during this time. So I'm calling the theme of the month Alchemy in Action, because this 12th house that all of this is happening in for you is a house of your subconscious and unconscious mind, your ancestral gold and garbage, your fears and phobias, your, potentials, your dreams at night, and your connection between the seen and unseen realms. This is your psychological space. It rules mental and emotional experiences. And so you've got all this fire loading up there, which makes me feel like the potentials for alchemy, which is the creation, whether it's literal or figurative, from garbage to gold, is the storyline for you. And you've already been going through a long phase of this with those Taurus Scorpio eclipses that have been happening since the end of 2021. We are going to be going into eclipse season. April and May, we've got 2 more eclipses. April starts a new cycle, an Aries Libra cycle. That's going to bring up themes of chaos versus order, seen versus unseen, psyche versus action. And that's going to be a theme that continues for a while. But 4 to 6 weeks before the first eclipse starts the eclipse season. So in March, we are in eclipse season. So you'll start to see signs of how these new eclipses will manifest, and also storylines that had been in place from those Taurus Scorpio eclipses that have been rocking your worlds. Those are going to be coming back, and new chapters are going to be flipping over for you to experience. So signs about how those might manifest are going to be coming. Fortunately, there is not as much of a mess in the stars in this cycle of the eclipses as there was in October, November. It was a nightmare, as many of you know. So it's not, the general stars are not as intense as the stars were then. So I have had some questions already. Is this going to be as terrible as October, November? And each person may have their own relative experience of this, because we can't see how things are hitting off in your individual chart, which can drastically change your personal experience. But the general climate of the month in this period of time is much better and much lighter compared to those last eclipses. So if you're traumatized by those still, hopefully they will be lighter this time. Eclipses, as they move along, this eclipse cycle for Taurus Scorpio is from the end of 2021 through the end of 2023. It's in Taurus Scorpio. It's highlighting major changes for you, me, we sector, me and mine stuff sector. And now we've got the Aries and Libra, also another me, we storyline besides the things I mentioned. So there's a lot of reshuffling of energy moving around between you and your relationships. And this is going to continue, and you're going to see signs of the changes that are coming now. All right. And even if we're not in the heat of the eclipse season yet, you will notice that kind of electrifying experience of feeling like change is coming and not exactly knowing what it is definitely going to be happening. All right. While we're on the topic of Aries here, let's just talk about some of these conjunctions. Conjunctions are basically when planets are together. So you can see right at the beginning of the month, Venus and Jupiter are together. This is one of my favorite aspects ever. So this is love, beauty, money, self-esteem being expanded by Jupiter with this zesty energy of Aries. All of this happening in your 12th house can really bring a lot of spiritual productivity, a lot of, enlightenment and just aha moments where something makes sense and dots connect that really can change things for you. And it's very exciting. So, but it can also happen in other areas of your life, including your financial sector, including your romantic sector. This aspect is amazing. And remember before I told you that this is a time that's awesome for launches. And although I do give you a more complete list of the great dates, the neutral dates, the ones to watch in my newsletter that you can sign up for at anniehelpsyou.com. Also, there's a link underneath the podcast or video that you can go to it directly on my site where you can sign up. I will give you some important dates this month, and you can get a more complete list by signing up for a newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. All right, so March 1st and 2nd, we've got Jupiter and Venus combining. Awesome. Very exciting. Lots of luck. Sometimes I remember one time when this aspect happened, I was looking out for what was going to be magical, and my dad and some other relatives, we went to a baseball game. It was something that my dad and I did together as a child. That was very bonding for us. And he wanted to go to a baseball game. It had been decades since I had been to one. And we actually got free tickets on the way. A police officer, he either knew my dad or something. I don't even know what happened there, but he gave us free tickets. So we went in, and it was Big Papi's. I don't know if you're familiar with baseball, but it was Big Papi's last game. And that was really special. So, just things like that, wonderful memories, wonderful luck, people giving you stuff. Just look out for that right at the beginning of the month. It's a great way to start the month, and I'm super excited about it for everybody. Then we have a similar energy at the end of the month, March 27th, March 28th, when Mercury, the bringer of news and information, comes together with Jupiter. So again, this is like information could come in a big way. News can come in. You can figure something out. This is like, just a wonderful combination. And it's just, we're so full of this energy this month because you can see all this Aries energy is jumping over and connecting with each other. So it's very special. It's very vibrant. It's very energetic. It's very productive. And in your 12th house can really help you turn garbage to gold. True alchemy. Okay. So we also have another date to note. Series of dates to note. The days around March 11th and 12th, and these, you'll really feel this in the weeks before and after, because this is an outer planet conjunction. Jupiter and Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. Jupiter, the great expander. This is one of those that can go either way. You can have, a vulnerability come up, but you can also have something that has been a weak spot for you healed in a big way. Back to this topic of addictions and fears and phobias, you can find a cure for something that's been plaguing you forever. It's that type of just sizzling, quick energy. Then, of course, we've got the true new year, astrological new year, on March 21st, when the sun gets it's in Pisces there at the beginning, and as it goes in, moves on to the 21st, we start the astrological new year. And that is one of the best times of the whole year to make a vision board where you cut out pictures and phrases and things that you want to bring more of into your life and post it somewhere where you can see it so that your subconscious mind is taking this information in. Our power to create comes from our subconscious mind. And whatever we have in our space is constantly speaking to our subconscious mind and is part of our creation process. So a vision board is helpful in that way because it's constantly speaking to your subconscious mind to help you take the steps to create those things. And at the time of the astrological new year, the universe is exceptionally receptive to your intentions for your new beginnings. Okay, so those are the ones I wanted to talk about regarding that. Okay, so now let's talk about these sign changes. So the first and kind of lesser of the sign changes is Mars, having been in Gemini since August of 2022, is finally going to move into Cancer. And this is really good news for Taurus because for this whole time, 7 months, it's been in Gemini, not at a nice angle for Taurus. It's been kind of annoying. It's been making things wishy-washy in your money sector, indecision in your money sector, your finances, going back and forth about things, confusion, uncertainty, maybe lack of drive and impetus, which is not common for Taurus people. Roadblocks to financial self-sufficiency have all been the keynote of Mars in this place. Now it's moving to Cancer. It's a softer energy. It's not one that Mars is super comfortable in, right? Because Mars is the natural ruler of the first house and Aries. And then trying to squash itself into the water element is a little bit, awkward. But at least for Taurus people, from March 26th through May 21st, when Mars will be in Cancer, you're going to have beautiful aspects made with your Taurus placement or placements. All right. So this is going to help you bring in information that is valuable to you and put out information that is interesting to you. So it's great for education. It's great for writing or speaking. It's great for travel, especially close travel, neighborhood travel. It's great for vehicles, like having to buy a vehicle or a device. You could have some blessings that upgrade your transportation situation or your communication situation. And you also can have blessed connections with your family, brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles. As Mars goes through this placement for these months, there could be some very positive things that come. All right, so the next one, we're getting a little bit bigger now, is Saturn moving from Aquarius into Pisces. So Saturn will be in Pisces. It's going in March 8th officially. We'll be there from 2023 to sometime in 2026, almost 3 years. And this is, a monumental change. Saturn is a big outer planet. It has a lot of weight, and it's hard to tell from this chart. But Saturn's actually going to be moving from having kind of been heckling you in your 10th house, wanting discipline, wanting commitment. It's going to move its stern authoritarianism to your houses of friendships and groups. Okay, so this is a time for these years where you'll have tests with your friendships. Are they in it for the long haul? Are you in it for the long haul? Are you investing too much? Are you not investing enough? That's unlikely. Most Taurus friends I know really do invest in their relationships. But it's asking those questions. Social media. Are you in it? Should you be in it? And I'll get to that one more when we talk about Pluto here soon. But Saturn in Pisces for you, since Pisces rules this 11th house, is really just bringing up those topics of you within a group, you on a team, you giving your creativity towards the greater good and working on community-based projects and with other people. And there might be some really great things to build. There might be some things you have to work out there. But you're definitely going to see friendships, acquaintances, networking in the center, for this time with Saturn. Now, as Saturn is leaving the 10th house, Pluto is getting into the 10th house. And Pluto is a storyline of grow or die. Now, I can not only speak to you about the story of Pluto being in the 10th house from the perspective of being an astrologer, but I can also speak to you from the perspective of being an Aries rising and having had Pluto in my 10th house for very many years. So I have been and it's still there, experientially going through what I'm about to describe to you. So I'm in a really good position to understand what this looks like. Okay, so Pluto wants us to grow or die. Now, it's been having this storyline in the sign of Capricorn for everybody since 2008. But now it's getting even more personal for you because it's moving into the house of Capricorn. So for over 20 years, it's going to be urging you constantly to be growing in your work sector, in your career, in your employments. Some of you who do not need to make money or who are retired are going to feel this desperate urge and need to share your life story or share your gifts or have your passion projects come to life. And that's the way it could manifest. But Pluto is not going to let you lay dormant with what you have to bring to the world, whether you're earning money for it or not. And I know this because, I did not want to go on YouTube and put myself out in front of everybody when I started doing that, in 2012. Pluto, grow or die, said, you got to do it. And I did it. And it worked out really well, right? So I'm glad. And then I did not want to deal with my technophobe stuff. Here, you guys may have some of your phobias and stuff. I did not want to deal with that. Pluto said, you got to deal with it. I did it. I now, have a very well-established online business. And I've actually had business online in some way, probably for the last 17 years. And Pluto has been a part of that. So this is a really, really big deal. It's a constant urging and it is Plutonian power that makes you push forward. So if you're a Taurus who's been doing things in the same way and they've worked for you, there's actually a story that I read in a book one time of this guy who had some kind of business. It was just a grounded, normal, physical business. And they were doing the same thing, and they saw an astrologer, and the astrologer said, okay, you're going to have to, do some things different. And the guy said, why would I do things different? It's been so successful over the last 30 years. And the astrologer said, because you now have Pluto in your 10th house. You have to grow or die. You can't just do things the same way that you did them before. And the person didn't listen. And their business that was well established and doing well for 30 years blew up, Plutonian energy, pretty much overnight because he didn't grow. All right. So you have to see how this applies to you. Maybe you need more education. Maybe you need to put yourself out there. Maybe you need, this is going to be a constant thing and it's going to be a long-term thing, but this is happening. All right. So sure we'll be talking about that a lot over the next 20 years because it will just be there. And I'll remind you from time to time of what's going on. Okay, so I think those were the things that I wanted to talk about. Definitely going to see an end of stagnation in this period of time. All right, so remember, if you want more important dates besides the ones I gave you delivered to your inbox 1 month early, go to anniehelpsyou.com. You can click on this link below the video or podcast. If you want exclusive and sometimes early content, sometimes I'm going to make something public, but I make it accessible to my exclusive content community first. And you can sign up for that very low monthly subscription, AnnieBAstrology.com. Annie, the letter B, astrology.com. And you can see my retrograde planner, so you can see the other open times for the rest of the year, understand what Jupiter's doing through the different signs as it's making its way through Aries, and all kinds of other stuff. If you want to learn astrology, I can help you learn, and I can teach you how to do astrology professionally and make your practice work. I've been a business person for 25 years successfully, and I've been an online practitioner for, I told you, almost 2 decades, way before people were really doing that. And I can teach you how to combine all this, plus know what you need to know to give a kick-ass reading every time with my course, Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course at beastropro.com, beastropro.com. And I also have some free classes and some other courses at lumelife.com, LUME life.com. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.